so I don't have to do too much time scribbling notes during the evening itself. I'd also ask if you could keep yourself muted where possible. And if you do want to ask a question, use the facility to raise a hand or to ask a question, and I will, at a suitable point, break in and invite you to speak. So, HamTV, as some of us know, is the digital amateur television service from ARIS on the International Space Station. It was a project that was led and run by Gaston Bertels, ON4WF, who is now unfortunately silent key, and was originally flown in 2013 and commissioned in 2014 in the Columbus module. It was used very successfully and to great effect on ARIS school contacts between 2016 and 2018, most prominently in the Tim Peake mission that we ran from the UK, where Tim was able to do some demonstrations of activities in space whilst he was talking to the students. Unfortunately, the transmitter failed and was returned to Earth in 2019 and underwent a number of repairs and testing and recertification in both Italy and the United States before being reflown to the ISS in 2024. And it was successfully re-energized on July the 29th, 2025, transmitting just a blank carrier on 2395 megahertz, which some of you may have seen or received in setups that you might have. So I recognize from the outset that we've got two distinct audiences online, a very large number of newcomers, as well as some old hands at HamTV. So I do apologize up front if this is teaching people to suck eggs or is over people's heads. But what I'm intending on doing is sort of documenting this and putting a little bit of a summary out on both the social media and the Discord channels that ARIS runs. So, where's my mouse? There it is. So, the goal of HamTV, if you're not aware of it, is essentially this last bullet point on the screen. We want to generate between 10 and 12 minutes of digital amateur television from the ISS so that it can be made available to the school that is undergoing an ARIS contact to enhance and produce a better outcome for the students in their learning processes that they're going through as part of the lifelong learning that they carry out. Oops. In order for that to happen, we need to have distributed HamTV reception stations around the world, which are located roughly 800 to 1,000 kilometers apart from each other along the ground track of the ISS in order to receive the signals, which each individual station can be expected to receive up to 5 or 6 minutes during a favorable pass. And as I mentioned before, the BATC have a facility that allows the transport stream, which is received from the HamTV, to be sent over the internet, where all the incoming packets are time-stamped and sorted and rebuilt into a single consistent audio and video output, as I said, which is made available to the general public and to any school that is undergoing a contact at that time. But also, one of the important things is that it's enabling and intended to enable lifelong learning for the amateur radio community by introducing new bands to operators and experience in building and experimenting with RF equipment. At this point, I would like to do a very quick introduction. We've got a number of ground stations on the call tonight. So quite a few actually, so I have to scroll screens to look at them. But I would like to introduce, first of all, Frank Bauer, who's the international chair of ARIS International itself. And Frank, would you like to say a few words about your role and your interest in HamTV, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kieran, and thank you for conducting this meeting and welcome everybody. Yeah, I think you talk about my role. My role in the HamTV was primarily with the recertification. Just so everybody's background, the team. This was an ESO developed system under a contractor named Kaiser Italia in Italy, and our AMSAT Italy team, led by Emanuele D'Andrea, was coordinating with Kaiser Italia and now Francesco De Paolis. And so I want to thank the folks that did do all the recertification and incorporated a new RF filter on this system to make sure that we could keep it on as 24/7, if you will. And that's part of the whole long-term commissioning aspect of this. So I was involved in actually the recertification. I handled the safety and engineering stuff for Randy Berger's team. Randy's the director of engineering. Randy Berger's team to get this thing on the air, if you will. Beyond that, I'm looking forward to bringing this back on the air and utilizing it even more than when we did when we were operating it in the 2014-2018 timeframe. So looking forward to potentially more ground stations coming online and supporting a wider swath of the world to be able to support it. Back over to you.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Phil, M0DNY, would you like to give a little introduction and your role at Goonhilly as well, please?
Sure. Good afternoon, good evening, all. So I'm Phil Crump, M0DNY. I was involved in setting up the HamTV for the Tim Peake contacts in 2016, and then was involved in helping other ground stations set up for other contacts across Europe and other places after Tim Peake through 2017, and then worked with Phil Heron, who's also on the call. Phil Heron had an idea about this merger of being able to coherently merge the transport streams from the different ground stations. So in 2017, I worked with him on integrating that into operations. I also have use of a ground station at Goonhilly, where we've got a 5-meter antenna. And some of you may have seen on the live.aris.org website that we've had that up and running. And we've been using it to get the merger facilities back up and running as of recently HamTV switching back on. But the idea is that this is just one station in a network of stations. It's still limited by the fact that it's in one place. So we're looking forward to getting lots more stations included in the network.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Claudio, would you like to give a little introduction to yourself and to your IK1SLD station and your role in HamTV previously, please?
Okay, this is Claudio India Kilo 1 Sierra Lima Delta. We participated during the contact with HamTV in the later years, starting 2016, and now we had to relocate the station, the dish, to another location in Casale. So we are ready again to participate during the next HamTV contact from Italy.
Okay, thank you. I can see Armand as well, who was a ground station. Armand, would you like to introduce yourself and your role in HamTV?
Hello, yes, I am an operator of ground station in central Poland. In the past, it worked successfully, and I received video from the ISS and sent it to video server. The station was upgraded from Windows 7 to Windows 10, and at this moment, and there are two receiver, one on the PCI and the second one on the USB. And to set the antenna, there are two separate electric motors that working separately, and one of these motors at this moment is not working properly. So during this test, there is a serious defect, and the antenna is rotating only in one direction. So the status of the station is at this moment failed.
Okay, thank you. Matthias, DD1 US, I think you participated in the previous ground station. Would you like to introduce yourself and say a few words about your station? Oh, you're muted.
Okay, yeah, now I'm on. Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Matthias Bob, DD1 US. I'm located in the very southwestern part of Germany, close to the French and Swiss border. I have a 2.3 meter dish on top of my roof with azimuth elevation tracking capability. I use it mostly also for weather satellites tracking. And yeah, I received the first signals 2015. Just had to look it up actually. And by the time when I had a little bit more time because of workload, and I think I only streamed once to the BATC server, and then the system failed. My system is still intact. Do a lot of other satellite work as well. Member of AMSAT-DL. So I'm looking forward to help here also in this activity, and it's really great to see so many people now around the world. It will be really interesting coverage now.
Okay, thank you. Shane, VK4KHZ in Australia. Would you like to introduce yourself and say a few words about your station?
Morning, Kieran. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Oh, you're very weak, Shane.
Oh, okay. Probably, hang on, one moment. We can boost the audio here a little bit. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit better.
Yep, that's better.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, good morning, everyone. I'm Shane, VK4KHZ, and I'm one of the current ARIS ground stations. Been operational as a ground station for around 20 years now, or just a little over. Yeah, we were involved in the HamTV experiment from the time it was commissioned previously in 2013, 2014, with the operation of a ground station in Glendon in Queensland, Australia. That was operational right through until the failure of the HamTV transmitter. We were fortunate in that we had some experience in the experimentation of the linking of ground stations through the help of Phil Crump. And Phil set the streamer up, and we were also successful, both myself, Martin VK6MJ, Joe VK5 Echo India, Tony VK5ZAI, in conducting a chained event, which was very successful for ground stations. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting things back up and operational again. Ironically, I only decommissioned my HamTV station about 8 months ago. So we're in the process now of reinstalling that, and had a confirmation 2 weeks ago that we were successfully able to receive the blank signal. But now I'll move to the next step and reinstall the 1.2 meter satellite dish on the roof of my house. Okay, back over to you, Kieran. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. I recognise we've got a number of other people on there, but I'm aware that we're limited on time. I do want to give a special welcome to all the other stations and amateurs who are online tonight who are interested in finding out information about HamTV, and hopefully this will be the start of some webinars that we can help direct what's going on. I would also like to introduce Dave Crump, who runs one of the wikis that is very informative of information to do with HamTV and has got a lot to do with digital amateur television in general. So Dave, would you just like to give yourself a very brief introduction, please?
Yes, thanks, Kieran. I received HamTV back in 2016, but my main role now is testing solutions and doing integration work to help Phil bring the merger online. And along with Noel, who actually has done the vast majority of the writing, Noel G at GTZ, writing up the documentation on the BATC wiki. And I'll put a link to that in the chat shortly. Thanks, Kieran.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. Okay, so moving on a little bit, the goal of, or the immediate goal that we have with HamTV is to re-establish the ground stations so that we can carry out the recommissioning of the HamTV unit. And to that effect, what we're looking for is seeking the state of readiness of existing ground stations that can receive HamTV. I have emailed out to a number of stations that I'm aware of, principally in Europe and in Australia, who had previously taken part in it. But what we would like to do now is seek some information from you in terms of outstanding requirements needed to successfully feed into the BATC merger system, or indeed any requirements to fix your station to make it operational again. That will require us to collect some data about not only about yourself, but also about your ground station. And I will be grateful if people with suitable ground stations could email me on the email address that was sent out for this call, which was the hamtvops@aris-i.org, of your readiness of your station, and I will keep you in a round robin link with Phil Crump and Phil Heron to make sure that we can resolve any issues and identify and get the ground stations back up and running. That will allow us to then start doing some recommissioning. At the moment, HamTV is in its original configuration as it existed in 2016. And that, as a consequence of that, that results in the frequent power downs to accommodate activities in the Columbus module of the ISS. It also means we're using a camera from the ISS, which is due to be decommissioned, and I believe is the only one of that type on board at the moment. And also, when not transmitting live video, the only thing that was receivable from HamTV was a black screen, with many of you potentially remembering the blue line down the left-hand side of the display. Ultimately, the position we want to get to is to confirm and move the HamTV system onto the new ARIS multi-voltage power supply system, which will allow us to power the HamTV system 24/7 and reduce the amount of downtime that is necessary. We also want to install, as Frank mentioned, a interface to allow the new cameras, which are predominantly HDMI based, onto the HamTV system, and at the same time provide a color splash screen, if you like, for reception in absence of live video. This will give ultimately a position, or a good position, for us to then start using HamTV in regular schools contacts. So recommissioning itself is going to be a series of steps designed to take us from the original current configuration up to the final configuration itself. But it totally depends upon crew availability on the ISS and the flight path of the ISS over active HamTV ground stations, which is why we're asking for confirmation of suitable stations that would be willing to get their stations up and running so that we can start to plan this. And importantly, this will take time. It's not going to be something that can be done instantly. It does depend upon crew availability, as I said, and crew availability is one of the scarce items on the station itself at the moment. But with luck and support from the crew, we will get this commissioned and back into regular use. So we've talked a little bit before about the BATC merger system, and I mentioned that it was developed by Phil M0DNY and Phil MI0VIM and supported by the BATC. Rather than reread the screen for you, Phil and Phil, would you like to just give a little summary of the merger system itself, and also what work remains to be done in order to make it available for ground users?
Phil H, would you be happy to talk a bit about how the core of it works?
1 second. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Hi, everyone. I'm Philip, MI0VIM. I was one of the original developers of the merger a long time ago now. It came out of an idea similar to an image system that I had written previously, where data from multiple stations was combined to fill in and smooth over any gaps in reception. And the idea was that the individual packets from the transmitter on the station could be identified and recompiled from each station and essentially stitched together in real time, and then just transmitted out as a single stream. It worked pretty well. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So we have the core server element, which runs on the live.aris.org server currently, which is hosted in Europe. And the way this currently works is that there's a client running on your ground stations that's taking the UDP transport stream out of whatever receiver you have, pushing that up to the server, and then the logic that Philip Heron has written is then able to use the timestamps in the transport stream to line those up, and therefore where one station has a gap, it can use the stream from another station, and this allows it to present a single, ideally glitchless video and audio stream from several stations that might individually be having glitches. So the current state of this is that we have we've changed the way the upload protocol works slightly. We've added a few improvements which we were thinking about in 2017, but have been on the back burner for quite a few years now. And we've added those in. We've got a Linux client that is up and running. That's primarily what we work in, so we targeted that first. Dave, GHEKQ, has been working on integrating that into the ports down system, the ports down DATV transceiver, which some of you may have heard of, or you can find out more on the wiki. The idea is that people who are using their own Linux system in their ground stations, which I'm aware a few on the participant list do, can also use that. Separately, we are well aware that most people are probably going to be running Windows. Philip Heron has also had previously developed a Windows client and is actively developing a new Windows client with quite a few improvements. He's actually sent me an extra test version today, so it's been worked on day to day at the moment. And the idea would be that it's a little GUI application that you run alongside your receiver. You pipe the UDP transport stream into it, and then that sends it up. And it's marked with your call sign, so that you can see that you are contributing to the system. And then, so that is coming. We're still working on that internally. We're also thinking more about the output side of things. So you might be aware from watching the stream, any of you who were watching the stream on the website when we had stuff running, the HTML5 stream that's on there has quite a bit of a delay to it. You see the data coming from a ground station, and then there's a bit of a delay before it comes up. Previously, we used Flash RTMP with Flash Player to present the low latency stream in the school. Flash has been now deprecated for good reasons, but we are looking at other ways of doing that low latency stream with WebRTC or something like that. That's the other side that we're actively looking into. One more thing that I should mention is that we are very focused towards the BATC mini tuner as the hardware receiver. Partly because this is a very capable hardware receiver. It does all the decoding, demodulation in hardware, and we just get the transport stream out. We are aware that there's a lot more people working with SDR solutions, and there is actually a lot better software available for that. So we have started working with developing that. You might see on the website that Goonhilly is running SatDump alongside a mini tuner. And those do seem to be roughly comparable side by side, albeit it's running with a very expensive SDR on that particular station. So we are looking at the software side of things. It looks to be pretty good at the moment. We just need to be aware of how the relative delay works is the main thing. The typical software that you might use, SatDump is the one on Linux for SDR decoding, just answering a question in the chat. So that's where we are at the moment. We currently have the one server up and running. We're aware that, so let's talk a bit more about how the server works. The server has a 100 millisecond window, and in that 100 millisecond window, at the end of the 100 millisecond window, it reassembles the stream from all the stations. So all the stations need to be within 100 milliseconds of each other. That then potentially does cause problems. It seemed to work quite well with the Australians connecting in, with Shane and the others connecting in back in 2017, but it was a bit marginal. So we are looking at potentially splitting out servers. So there will be perhaps an Australasian server, a European server, and an American server. So that there's a bit more margin in there for people's internet connections being a bit more variable in that delay to be contributing to the stream. But that's what we're thinking about. We're thinking that there will be, the display would show whichever one is live, because only one of them will be receiving the ISS at once. But you would connect into your local server. You'd have credentials for your local server. These are things we're thinking about, and we'll probably roll out over the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you, Phil and Phil. So as both Phils have said, that the merger system is actively being worked on, and is something that will be passed out to ground stations as and when we've got things ready. So turning now to mostly to the new attendees itself. Many questions, and I've got the start of a frequently asked questions list to come up at the end of the presentation, but many of the questions are very focused on requirements for a HamTV ground station. And on the screen, I've put essentially the minimum that is required, which is an automatic steerable antenna, ideally a dish with a feed and amplifiers and or filters, depending upon what the signals below and above 2395 megahertz are like in your area, to receive S-band signals. As Phil mentioned, the receiver can be a certain type of set-top box or a dedicated DATV receiver, such as the mini tuner or the Pico tuner. SDRs are being worked on and integrated into the tool chain at the moment. If you're running a DATV receiver, you need a PC that runs Windows or Linux. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, we don't have a Mac implementation. So one of the appeals that we want to make to the community is that if there are any Mac developers who would be willing to take the reference build that Phil and Phil produce and turn it into a Mac executable, that would be very welcome. And if you would kindly email us with information, then I'll make sure that that information gets passed on. Essentially, the PC needs to run software to decode the transport stream from the receiver. As Phil mentioned before, there are a number of different alternatives, and one of them is OpenTuner, or the software that comes from BATC at the moment. You also need this software that has been alluded to, which is the one that forwards transport stream packets to the BATC merger, and then importantly, a strong and solid internet connectivity. The best example or the best diagram that we have at this moment in time comes from the BATC wiki itself, and basically shows a block diagram of how a typical HamTV station is set up and configured. TYG, I don't know your name, but I've just seen your hands up, so I'll come back to you in just a moment, if that's okay. The most grind stations that are built up are built on this basis, and have been demonstrated to show very good performance itself, and are not too different from most solutions that are used for activities such as QO100 as well. TYG, do you want to ask your question?
For inviting me. So basically the question is that, I'm new to this ISS HamTV. I've been very active on decoding telemetry from the satellites, from the ground station setup that I have on both VHF, UHF, and also on SatNogs. But my current setup is going to be SDR based, where I have a down converter, like a ham it down, with for 3 gigahertz, and also with respect to the dish itself, I have a challenge whether I need to go in for a 1 meter, 1.2 meter. I have a helical antenna that is available at my setup. So overall, I'm going to try all the setup to receive the signals from the ISS HamTV. But I think it will be good for this forum to publish some of the BKMs, what we can incorporate with a very basic setup to receive these signals from the ISS.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully the rest of the presentation and some links that I'm going to give will help give some good background reading for you and for everyone to take part in. Noticing the discussions going on the chat, which is really good, and mention has been made of the Discord system itself. I will get the social media managers to send out a invite or an acceptance link for the server before it goes open community, and that is a good place where live discussions are taking place, and I would recommend it to everyone to stay in the loop in terms of what's going on, as announcements are made there and on social media in terms of progress with HamTV. some initial questions that have been finding my way or finding their way to me since I sent out the invitation for this call is sort of shown on the screen. And I think one of the things that we need to do and to develop in some way, shape or form is to be able to collect some of these questions and to be able to answer them for you. But one question that has come up a lot from a number of people has been, will ARIS pay for the necessary equipment needed for HamTV reception? And with regret, unfortunately, I have to say at this moment in time, no. We do look to amateurs who are interested in extending their stations and their equipment and make use of this as a lifelong learning opportunity, just as they have done for all the other bands that they're active on. So for the moment, that is not possible itself. We're also asked often whether existing radios are sufficient to receive HamTV, and I will defer here to Dave from the BATC for confirmation of this, but my understanding is that none of the radios that exist, and I think that includes the IC905, are sufficient to receive HamTV, even though they can receive analog television. They're not, the bandwidth on them is insufficient to receive digital television.
Absolutely correct, Kieran. There, to my knowledge, there are no commercial radios that will receive HamTV, commercial amateur radios. Okay,
which drives us down the route of mini tuners, pico tuners, or SDRs ultimately itself. Another question that keeps popping up is there a ready-made kit of parts that I can buy to build a HamTV station? And once again, I have to say, unfortunately not. The whole process is very much a learning process, and there are many different options that are available. But one of the best sources of information that we can give is the BATC wiki, which I will put the link up for and has been put in the chat to at least start the discussion and the consideration of what type of solution do you want to try and implement. One other question that pops up now and again is how long can I receive HamTV for? And with suitable steering on the antenna and accurate steering on the antenna and good views from the horizon to horizon, we reckon a 1.2 meter dish will receive somewhere in the region of about 5 to 6 minutes of reception. And this is why we need the chained ground stations to take information from multiple ground stations on the ISS track and lead it into the merger system so we can produce a single output. And finally, as we've alluded to already, the computer operating systems that are supported are currently Linux and Windows. And if there are any Mac developers on the call or in the community that would like to contribute to the production of a Mac client that would help on the BATC merger, then please do get in touch with us. Oops. And as I said, the best source of information at this present time, especially a technical source of information, is the BATC wiki at the address that's on the screen. This is an extensive one, and Noel, would you perhaps like to say a little bit about what's on it at the moment and how can people contribute to it, please?
Okay, so we set this up about 6 months ago when we realised that HamTV was going to be back on, and it's a collection of all of our knowledge and thoughts from doing it in 2016, and we've tried to pull it all together so it does become the definitive technical source. We realise that it's not complete because it never can be, but it is a collection of the best knowledge that we've got at the moment, and is literally being updated every day. We've updated some of the experiences with SAT dump on there. What we are interested in is feedback. We've been asked if we could, do some get you going solutions. One of the problems is this project is a highly technical project. It's not a simple standard satellite reception project, and so there is going to be some technology involved. It is going to be a technical job to get a station on the air, and so doing sort of cookie cutter solutions really at this moment in time, we don't have that many solutions to put up there. And what we've done is tried to collect our knowledge together so that, when you read the wiki, you should be able to work out what is and isn't needed. But if there are big gaps in there, we're more than happy to modify it. And it's getting quite a long page at the moment, and so maybe we can split it off into separate sections if there's an area that people feel we need to cover more. But we're looking for feedback and looking for information on stations you're running. That's one of the other things. Various stations are reporting on the BATC forum when they receive the ISS, and so we put a link to that as well. So you can go to that link and see the types of systems people are actually using at this moment. So it's a living thing. It's not dead, and we'd be happy to update it in whatever way people in the community want.
Okay, thank you, Noel. Also on the screen is a link to the AMSAT Belgium website and to the section on HamTV as well. This is a good summary of information and also gives some examples of ground stations that have been built and have contributed to the HamTV success between 2016 and 2018. So I've sort of gone through everything that I wanted to say. I realise there's probably going to be an awful lot of questions. So in the remaining time, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask so that we can identify online some answers straight away for you?
I have one question maybe. I wrote also on the forum last week. I was wondering, is the transmitter right now still off, or and if it is off, do you have any idea when it will be turned on again so we can try receiving?
So at the moment, the transmitter is off because of requirements in the Columbus module. We don't have a return to service time just yet, but we are working on it. And Anna, if you want to give any update, we are working to get it back online as soon as possible.
Hello, everyone. Yes, this is Anna over at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. I actually took the place of Kenneth Ransom. Many of you are probably familiar with that name. There seems to be a scheduling issue with the payloads folks on board the Columbus, since we use the same power supply that other payloads use. So we need to be sharing the same power supply. So it gets a little complicated. We're trying to get it on back on as soon as possible. But as soon as we have a day and time, we will be announcing that via the ARIS website and also our social media manager.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you, Anna. Okay. Harry in India, I see you've got a question.
Yeah, thanks for pulling me in, and good morning, good evening to all the guys around the world. Just a quick one. I've been working on LeoSats with an ALDZ rotator, AZU 5500, and I've also got a QO100 setup and a portable setup in India where I'm running around with my 1 meter dish and a DX Petrol full to play transceiver. different grids. I think probably the only one doing it in India right now. At the most, maybe another guy somewhere up north in India. So just wanted to touch base with any email or link where I can get some information on setting up a really good ground station here in Bangalore, India. I would be happy to extend my shack to receive HamTV. And that's what I wanted to convey on this forum, guys. Thank you very much for pulling me in. Over to you.
Okay, thank
also,
you, Harry.
Been featured in the QST June issue magazine with my portable setup this year. Thank you, guys. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. If I may suggest at the moment that we use the HamTV ops at arisi.org as a contact point, then I will try and repoint that to whoever we think is the best to answer the questions at the moment. Dave, GKQ.
Hi, Kieran. I just wanted to mention that previously the blank raster had a blue line down the left-hand side. The blank raster that's transmitted now from HamTV is totally blank. There is no blue line, there is no audio noise, but what there is service information that says HamTV, which there wasn't before, so you know you're receiving it from that.
Okay, thank you, Dave. You'll have to forgive me, I've got a large number of faces and names on the screen, but Frank, would you like to join in now, please?
Yeah, let me just say real quickly that as was said before, if you really want to ask questions and things, please join the Discord server. A link, I think Phil put a link up in the chat, so you're welcome to join that. That is a good place to get your information in, you know, as with the individuals that are out there that are the experts.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Anybody else with any questions?
I do have a question. Which version of Windows are you using right now?
I'll pass that one over to Phil Heron, if that's okay.
Yeah, the Windows client should run on any version from XP onwards.
I've tested his client on XP last night. So XP 10 and 11, I think is what we'll be targeting.
Yeah.
Ideally, you should all be on 11, but we understand some people might not be.
Well, I found on the Pico receiver on my computer, which is Windows 10, it will not operate. But if I go to the DATV Express, which is, I guess, ancient to everybody here, that works fine on 10. So I don't have a Windows 11 machine.
Okay, the Pico tuner I believe should work on Windows 10. So that may just be something that we need to work with you to fix.
Well, it costs a couple of $100 to buy that extra digit.
Yeah, I think the key challenge would be to point the dish having the rotator, especially at locations where we have high wind conditions. Rotators like G5500 with the 1.2 meter dish definitely is not the ideal choice. So that is going to be the key thing. With respect to the receiving setup, I think it's pretty straightforward, especially those people who are using a setup with the SDR, with the down converter, with the preamp and things like that. It could be straightforward, but I think the key thing is to point the dish with the right rotator. I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, one of the things to bear in mind is that HamTV is very much link margin constrained, and that link margin becomes quite a lot more demanding at low elevation. So you can get away with quite a simple setup, quite a small dish, perhaps even just a helical antenna, if you're just looking at very high elevation, but then you're going to get a very short, maybe only 30 seconds of video. And then you kind of want to look at what your elevation is, what your minimum elevation is, and your budget available, and then size the station to that. If you want to get it right down the horizon, you're going to need a 3-meter dish or something, and we don't suggest people do that. But a good compromise in the middle tends to be about a 90 centimeter, 1-meter dish on a G5500. That works quite well. But you can also get away with cheaper. We've done 60 centimeter hand steered, which worked for 3 or 4 minutes.
Sure. Thanks, Phil. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Any final questions from anybody? Okay, hearing none or seeing no hands raised on the Zoom, I would like to say thank you very much for attending. I hope it's been useful and has provided some insight. As I said, there are a number of places to look for information, and I do recommend you having a look at the BATC wiki. And as Noel said, comments or feedback is very welcome on that. I would be grateful, and thank you to Matthias, who has already done it, to existing ground stations who could email in with confirmation of the status of their systems, so that we can, in the first instance, get a chained ground station running so that we can get commissioning carried out. And I will link that with Phil Crump and Phil Heron so that we can make sure the system is up and running and get you involved. I do recognize a few names. I don't know some people. I think Louis, California in Portugal was a station in the past, but I'm not 100% certain. But looking forward to hearing from all of those stations.
Yes, we have a station here, okay, and it's fully operational. I need to test some calibrations with some noises, and I'm sure I have some news on the next days. Okay, I will put again on the air, and I will put some data for you on an email with the tracking and the signal reports from the station. Okay.
Brilliant, thank you, Louis. And like I said, please do read the BATC wiki. Do go to the Discord server and to the ARIS bit of it to ask questions. There is a gathering community there, including some of the technical people online tonight who have been chipping in and answering questions. The outstanding actions that I feel that are coming from tonight are first and foremost for the ground stations to comment in on the email on their availability. For me to take those ground stations and coordinate with the two Phils to make sure that we can get the BATC merger set up running for them. New stations that are capable are very welcome to be part of that and to help feed in as well. So please do send your information, and hopefully we will be in a position to start getting the commissioning carried out and HamTV in use very shortly.
Good.
So with that, and a big thank you to everyone who has taken part. And also, by the way, sorry, I almost forgot. If you have other skills as well, and I've just seen the message on the chat, which has triggered it. If you do have other skills that you want to assist on the SDR side of things, please do get in touch, especially with both Phil and Dave Crump, who are leading some of the activity on the BATC side of things, and we will look at getting SDRs as a workable solution for HamTV. Okay, so before I close the meeting, anybody with any last comments, please? Okay, hearing none, I'll say thank you very much, folks. Look out for some comments on Discord and social media from the ARIS channels, and we will hopefully move forward and get this new feature HamTV up and running as quickly as possible. So thank you very much for your time tonight, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future when we hold some further webinars like this as well. So thank you very much, folks, and good evening. 7 3s.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kieran.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you for hosting the meeting.
Thank you, Kieran. Bye.
Salve, bye bye.
Bye bye. From Italy. Ciao ciao.
Ciao from India. Bye-bye.
Okay. 73, good luck. Thank you.
Bye-bye from Mexico.
73 from India. View to use here, signing clear. 73.
Thank you, 73, to everyone from Arma from Poland.
73 is everyone from Northern Ireland.